We have agreed that DCP will support the Democratic Party in Mbeere North constituency, acknowledging that the seat was previously held by the Democratic Party and should rightfully be retained for the party's candidate to complete a full term, and hence DCP has agreed to give support.
When Gachagua stood in front of all his supporters and said that DCP will not be fielding candidates in some constituencies like Mbeere North and Malava, many thought it was a sign of weakness. But then he dropped the real bombshell.
This consensus and agreement among the parties in the united opposition only applies to the by-elections. However, let me confirm that in the 2027 general election, DCP shall field a presidential candidate and other candidates in the 290 constituencies, 47 counties, and 1,450 wards across the Republic.
That one sentence changes everything. It reveals not just Gachagua's survival strategy for today, but also his hidden master plan for 2027. So what is Gachagua really trying to do? Let's break it down.
Mimi nimekuja kusikiza ground. Malili munasemaje? Ati malili munasemaje?
On the surface, stepping aside in places like Mbeere North looks like surrender, but actually it is strategy. First of all, it's about goodwill. Like, we all know that the opposition leaders are many. Everybody wants something. And we all know that politicians are greedy. So, by not clashing with friendly parties in certain constituencies, Gachagua avoids splitting the opposition votes. This makes him look like a team player, like the unifier.
Sisi tuko wanaume na wanawake karibu 6. Tumekubaliana ya kwamba tutatoa mtu mmoja kupambana na Kasongo. Tumekubaliana.
There's also the avoidance of embarrassment. Let's be real, this one was pretty ambitious even for Gachagua. First of all, he didn't have the most popular candidate. The party might have been the most popular in the region, but he didn't have the most popular candidate. And let's be honest, sometimes, especially in central Kenya, people do not always vote for the party. Sometimes, people vote for the candidate. And it would be such an embarrassment for Gachagua to fight with Muturi and let Ruto win. Because you know, the most popular candidate comes from UDA. So imagine DCP and DP fights, they both lose, and Ruto gets to win through his guy who is running through UDA.
Leonard Muthende will fly UDA's flag during the Mbeere North November 27th parliamentary by-election.
The truth of the matter, Gachagua, by doing this, he has been able to protect his brand. There's also buying time. Let's be honest, politics is a game of timing. Gachagua knows it's not about winning every by-election. It's about positioning himself for the big battle in 2027. Which one would you rather lose? The battle or the war? The by-elections are just battles. The real war is coming in 2027. And what is Gachagua doing about 2027?
Sasa nataka kuuliza, muniunge mkono, nisimame rais nifukuza huyu Kasongo.
This is not just talk, this is a warning.
Let me confirm that in the 2027 general election, DCP shall field a presidential candidate and other candidates in the 290 constituencies, 47 counties, and 1,450 wards across the Republic.
First of all, Gachagua is addressing something called national ambition. Let's be honest, for a long time, people have seen Gachagua as a Mount Kenya leader, someone who only thinks about the Mount Kenya. But now, he is saying that he's going to field candidates in every elective position for the whole country. For the whole country. This one, if nothing, says that his party is no longer just a protest party from Mount Kenya. This is a national party. And being a national party, he has to field candidates from every part of this country.
We have a political party that belongs to all of us. DCP, Skiza ground, DCP, DCP,
There's also the presidential teaser. By casually mentioning the presidency, Gachagua is testing the waters. He's measuring reaction, watching who panics, and seeing which politician might be tempted to cross over. Let's be honest. When Gachagua says that the DCP will have to front a presidential candidate, he's saying that he's not here to joke. He's simply saying, I am going to vie for presidency using the DCP as the party, as my party of choice. So that one can do two things. It can make some people panic, and even it could make some other people to actually cross over from the united opposition and maybe move on to Ruto if they think that they're not going to be able to survive with Gachagua running for president. And finally, there is value in the coalition. Gachagua is trying to state his value in the coalition. Declaring presidential ambition increases his bargaining power. If other opposition leaders want his support, they must treat him as an equal and not a junior partner. This one especially is very important for Gachagua. For the longest time, the opposition, the united opposition and their supporters are very open to anyone else being the president but Rigathi Gachagua, which makes you worry or makes you ask yourself, why is it possible, how is it possible that the guy who will bring most of the votes in the coalition is not at all allowed to run for the presidency? How does that make sense at all? So him saying that DCP will front a presidential candidate is telling these guys, yo, you better stop playing. I'm not coming here as a junior person who is not expected to run. I could run for president. And I saw him the other day somewhere saying,
sasa nataka kuuliza muniunge mkono nisimame rais nifukuza huyu Kasongo.
So Gachagua is not playing. And make no mistake, Gachagua knows how Kenyan politics works. You don't always run to win. Sometimes you run to bargain. Again, he's learned this very well from Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga has ran for presidency, let's count, 1998, 2007, 2013, 2017, 2022. That is a whole 5 times. And guess what? Out of all the 5 times, he's never become president. But guess what he's always become? He's always gotten a seat at the table, except in 2013. All the other times, he's always gotten a seat at the table. So, Rigathi Gachagua has realized that you can actually run, lose, and still win. But this is strongly founded on the fact that you're going to be such a popular candidate that you cannot be ignored. And Gachagua is planning to do exactly that. So the truth is, Gachagua is playing humble today so that he can play king tomorrow. Today he's trying to be cooperative, selective in the battles that he is going to engage in, and actually avoiding embarrassment. But come 2027, he's going to be aggressive, ambitious, and ready to plant the DCP flag in every constituency, and possibly on the presidency itself. And that's the genius of his move. Everyone saw a retreat, but in reality, it was a setup. He's positioning himself as the only politician bold enough to stand toe by toe with William Ruto come 2027, while uniting disgruntled allies under one umbrella. So finally, let's bring this home. When Gachagua says he's holding back for now, don't be fooled, guys. This is not the end game. This is just the beginning. Because in 2027, the man who once stepped away from Malava, Mbeere North, is going to step forward onto the biggest stage of all, the race to State House. Subscribe.